This is literally my first day and the first order I get, and I'm like, I don't know. Football players are just giant meat princesses. Brittany? Yes. I said, ha, I know you, lol. Also, giant meat princesses? She said, yeah. I have glasses. Like, this is how our conversations go.
Oh.
Oh.
So you worked last night, and you
work.
probably ain't gonna really get to see me much this weekend. Maybe Saturday night, evening. So we're gonna go get breakfast.
Well, I was gonna call you and talk to you anyway, whether I ate anything or not.
Tell me something interesting about your work day.
I was put in charge of the lobby, even though I didn't really know how to ring people up and take their orders. The first order that I get, first people that come in, it's a woman, a man, and a kid. It's the mom, dad, and the son. And I can see that they're like signing to each other.
Well, you're taking ASL.
I am taking ASL. The lady that she was deaf, and so they come up to the register and they're trying to figure out what she wants and then what they want, and they had like a big order, and I was getting stressed and confused because like they had a lot of stuff to order and I didn't really know how to work the register and the like kiosk thing, and I didn't know how to work it. And then somebody else just comes up behind me and she's like pressing buttons, and then she's like saying stuff, and I'm getting confused, and I'm like, I don't really know what's happening right now. And then they're kind of like, no, this is what we asked for, and it's not right on the screen. And she's like typing in the wrong stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of frozen. Like, this is literally my first day and the first order I get, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. The girl that's trying to help me and that's trying to do it, she's like, she goes over and she's like, calm down, and she's like,
To who, you?
no, to the customers that are trying to order stuff, and she's like, calm down. She's like, I don't know what.
So the man's the one talking?
No, the kid, the man and the kid were going back and forth.
They're actually talking. She was
The
deaf.
kid is he was actually better at signing. He's really good at signing, and so it was just like that back and forth, and like. Plus, everybody's wearing masks, so it's hard for us to hear those two. And so then that didn't go over very well, because I could tell she was already upset. Like, I could tell she was frustrated because they'd been there for a long time, and I didn't know what I was doing. And so she's like signing back and forth like really fast, and I can tell in her face she's not okay. She's upset, and I felt really bad. And I'm like, I'm just kind of stuck, like trying to wait for things to calm down before I do anything, because I'm like, oh boy. And then he's like, why did you tell me to calm down? I wasn't doing anything. I was just like trying to tell you my order. He's like, I wasn't getting mad at you. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't yelling. And so then
saying calm down actually frustrated him or aggravated him.
Yeah,
more.
it aggravated him. And this is a kid, he's younger than me. He's like speaking and signing really fast. And then so we're like trying to get everything down. She finally gets the order out. They start making the food. And then they're like, this order is wrong. They're like, we wanted this and this. And instead of I understand that she was frustrated, as in the girl that was trying to help me, but instead of sitting there and saying, oh, okay, let me fix that order, she's like, well, I don't know, you told me this. Like, she's like, you said this, I don't know what you're trying to say, but like, I heard this, I'm sorry, but like, I heard this. And I'm like, that's not fixing the situation.
Well, even if you did hear that, if they're saying that's not what they said.
Right, that's not what they wanted. And you're actually required to fix their order and get them what they wanted. You have to.
Like, you trying to convince them of what you heard.
Right.
Even if they go, oh, you're right, I did say that. Oops. If that's not what they're wanting.
You're still required to remake it. The kid was getting defensive. He was like, by this point, he was upset. The dad was frustrated. The mom, poor thing, I thought she was about to burst into tears. She was about ready to leave. I was like, I feel really bad. He's like, you need to listen. I'm trying to tell you what it is. We didn't want this. We wanted this. We ordered this. Can you add that? He said he wanted a shredded chicken burrito, and I was gonna add it. And she's like, no. She's like, what did you say? What did you mean? It took her like 2 minutes to figure out that he said shredded chicken burrito. And I was like,
when you heard it the first time.
When I heard it the first time. And she's like, you mean that one? She's like, no, this. She's like, you mean the thing that has this? Like, no, I want the shredded chicken burrito. She's like, the thing that says it's like one blah blah blah. She's like, no, the thing that says it's $2.99. It's like, okay, so you want that right there? And he's like, yes. And she puts it on there, and I'm like, oh my word.
And she's supposed to be helping you. And helping them.
And I think she was just confused and stressed and annoyed, and I was just like sitting there like back like I nope. I don't know. And finally, like, they get everything on there, and we're like, okay, so is everything on the screen right now? And they're like, yes. And I'm like I'm like, okay. So she just like walks away, and I'm like, and he's like, so we need to pay, like what do we do? It didn't clear. And I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know how to work it, and they didn't tell me
How to check out.
They didn't tell me how to check out, and so I'm like trying to press buttons.
How to get the total.
And I don't know, like asking someone, and then they were like, hey, can I speak to your manager? And I was like, yeah. So I'm sitting there, and I like sign sorry. Like I look at them, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll get my manager. She comes out. She was a lot nicer. She knows how to deal with people. She's a manager. She does this. And they made a point, and I was very grateful. They made a point. I told him, I signed to him and told him that it was my first day. I said, I'm sorry, it's my first day.
Oh, you signed it's my first day?
Yeah. I said, I'm sorry, it's my first day. And he said, oh, okay.
Oh, and by the way, actually knowing ASL can help you get jobs in the world.
I should have put that on my application.
It should be on your resume, because literally there's positions and jobs that, like, having a second language, and especially even that, because it's in itself.
Well, and there are people that know it, but outside of the deaf community, there's really not that many people that actually know it. But anyway, so I went and got a manager. She talked to them. They made a point to say that it wasn't my fault. They said it's not her fault. They said she didn't do anything wrong, but the girl that was trying to help her and that came over with her was getting upset and was saying to calm down and was putting the wrong order on there, and so they were like, okay, so is everything right now? And they were like, yeah, everything's right on the screen. So I was like, so how do I like clear this? She was like, don't worry about it. So they got it free of charge, and they brought their food out up to them. They got it. They were sitting over the table. I walked over to them, and I signed. I said, I'm sorry I didn't understand you before. I was like, I hope you have a good night. And then like, it was like the dude, the kid, he kind of like smiled, and he was like, oh, that's so cool that you know ASL. And I was like, yeah, I take ASL class at school. I'm trying to learn as much as I can. And so then the dad, he was like, hold on, you signed what you just did to her, because she was like, you know, kind of just to the side. He wanted to make sure that she saw me, so I signed directly to her. And then that was probably the first time I saw her smile all night. And I made my heart feel so happy, because she was so upset, and like I signed to her, and then she smiled, and I was like, oh. And she was like, thank you. And then I was like, thank y'all for coming. I was like, y'all have a good night. And I said bye. And I was talking about learning sign language, and the kid said, he's like, I tried to learn Spanish, and that didn't go very well. So then we were all laughing. I was like, yeah. So it ended up being okay, and they left, and they made a point to tell them that it wasn't my fault, and they like said that they understood and that everything. But I felt really bad, because it was just not a very good situation. There were too many factors that were not working. The fact that I was new, and the fact that the girl was getting their order wrong, and there was all kinds of stuff going on. So I felt really bad. So everything was going on, but in the end, it ended up being okay. It made me really glad that I took ASL, that I'm taking it. And it made me like really glad that I was there at work that day, and that even though I was like in a stressful situation, it made me really happy to talk to them. And so it also kind of motivated me to like do a little better at ASL right now, because you know I'm not like
because you see that it is a needed thing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a needed thing.
Here's what I think, especially with right now with the pandemic, you can't read their lips right now. So because of having to wear masks and stuff inside buildings and stuff, being able to talk with your hands from a distance and be able to know what each other's saying is very important. When it comes to another language, we have technology where they can talk into their phone and it will repeat it back into my language. I can talk into my phone and it'll repeat it back in their language. But when you have someone who can't hear, you can't.
Right.
I mean, unless you have a device, maybe they do, that you can, like their phone, they can like video what
there
you're
may be
like
some service where there's people I think there may be one where you can video chat somebody that's an interpreter, and you like show them the phone, they speak to the interpreter, then the interpreter speaks to you.
Maybe that
may be a thing, but I don't know how many people do that or what that would be.
Can't even afford that service.
Right.
So we're done with the story?
Yeah, we're done with the story, but that was my day at work.
Okay.